This better be like, I better see some fucking Diablo 3 numbers, okay? 4,000% monster life, okay? That's what I want. Turbo cuck armor fuck is what I want to see. To just make them indestructible, alright? The best. The Balance Manifesto is in. Apparently the patch notes are happening anywhere from now until at some point forever in the future. Bows and range attacks. Looking forward to this. Minions. Ooh, was hoping this is going to be bigger. But still, I mean, there's not much to talk about, I feel like. It's like, Minion smart. Minion big damage. Less damage, good. Non-damaging ailments. This is really big. I'm surprised they're doing this now. Weren't they supposed to do this like later? Monster resistance, armor, and life. Okay, I love this. Nice. This is gonna be a good one. Leveling. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm spoiling myself. Orb of Storms, Lightning Spy Trap, Onslaught, Smoke Mine, Stormblast Mine are being reduced in power. Really? That's fucking awesome. I love it. Yes, please nerf everything. The majority of our attention has been focused on bows, giving them a sweeping review similar to the attention received by spells, melee attacks, and minions earlier this year. Spells, good. Melee, too much swords. Minions, too strong. That's my summary. Bows, boring. I think that's my TLDR of what this is going to be. A number of bow uniques have been reviewed. We still don't believe that rare weapons and unique weapons have a fair balance between them. Yeah, with multi-mod crafted rares and certain unique bows being far too common. Nani? Oh no, my SSF experience, dude. Made some changes to improve this, but are aiming to make further changes in the future. Fuck. Some of you guys that don't know, there's a very large probability that I'm going to be starting the league off with explosive arrows, so the more juice I get here, the better. But I mean, this shouldn't affect it too much, unless they fucked up explosive arrow and it actually scales with weapon damage way too much. Similar, the point blank keystone has been seeing use on many bow and other projectile skills for a long time. We felt the damage bonus was too great at close range, forcing a close range playstyle onto a long range weapon. The keystone now provides 30% more projectile damage at close range, down from 50, tapering to 30% less damage at long range from 50% less. To be fair, like literally every bow build used point blank other than like toxic rain, so because it's just like once you had enough damage, it didn't matter if you were like off screening for white mobs, so the reduction didn't matter, and then for bosses it just provided a too big of a boost. So I think this is fair, but I'm still surprised because it feels like if they're announcing this initially, they're gonna have to like overtune a lot of the other stuff to keep people happy. We've made adjustments to the damage provided by the Shaper mod that grants cold damage per 10 dexterity and a cold damage bonus on Here's Ired. I mean, again, fair. It's kind of like how they overdid it with Abyss Jewels. Fair. Overall, the diversity of minion builds as a result of the 3.8 minion review have been positive. Yeah. There are a few mechanics that are sitting above where we'd like them to be. The following changes have been made. Man, they made it sound like they're not going to nerf minions much in some of the interviews that they were doing, but this seems significant. The weighting of minion modifiers and convoking ones has been lowered, making it harder to roll a great minion wand. Very good. That's cool. Although I do wish that they would add like 2 more like semi-filler affixes. Would have been cool. Well, to be fair, going into this, I need nerfs. I want them to nerf shit because I don't want the Awakener kill to be just like super stupid minions. Minion movement speed increases on the passive tree and Necromancer have been lowered. It's probably not significant enough to make a difference, honestly. It's like initially maybe, but it's probably not going to end up being a big deal. Both the damage and the buff from the Feeding Frenzy support have had their values lowered, as the support was providing too much damage. Even if a player didn't want aggressive minions, the support was too powerful not to use. Fair. Doesn't seem significant, but yeah. Lower, well, not big enough of a nerf, most likely. Raiz has had too much damage and life. For a small investment, life! They may lower in power slightly in several ways. Lower base damage, lower area on their slam, no life multiplier per gem level, and a longer slam cooldown. Life! We felt Raiz Spectre was too easy to get a third Spectre at gem level 21, especially with Necromancer Natural Strength passive. The third Spectre is now granted at gem level 25, giving a more challenging threshold for characters to strive for. 25. This is fair, but it doesn't... I thought they were going to nerf it directly. They didn't. So I still think that they're going to probably address slave drivers and solar guards, but... Well, I really hope so, because otherwise... all of this has no impact on the actual Awakener race. So that fucking sucks. Chill, Shock, and Freeze are mechanics intended to give identity to elements, but have been falling short of this goal. To reliably apply a non-damaging ailment to an endgame boss, either a huge damage hit would need to have been applied, or more likely a guaranteed effect like Chill, Shock, Ground, or the Elementalist Beacon of Ruin would be used. For attack characters, there were almost no options to reliably apply these effects. What do you mean? You've made every fucking skill conversion, and you've made it so that physical builds wouldn't scale ever outside of like elemental shit, unless you were doing it with Impale. Like, what? That's all you ever did. Scale elemental stuff for like 3 years now. We've greatly changed calculations for chill and shock. Now apply a 5% chill only requires you to deal 0.4 of a target's life, down from 1.67. What? A 10% chill requires you to deal 1.8% of a target's life, while applying a full force 30% requires you to deal 28%. 28? What was it before? I feel like it was lower before. 28 seems ridiculous. Near the ranger starting area on the passive tree, we've added a new shock and lightning cluster. Okay. A new ignite cluster. Oh. And have made improvements to the Flash Freeze cluster. I hope it's not too good, because then my entire fucking explosive arrow skill tree is going to have to be completely different. For many monsters, the ailment threshold and the monster's life will be the same, but very high health targets like map bosses and endgame bosses will now have a significantly lower ailment threshold than they do life. This should make shocking or chilling the Shaper much easier, as you'll be applying the effect as if they had approximately half the life they have now. So still way too much. But yeah, I mean, that's a good change. I can get with it. As long as it's not like some dumb shit where they allow us to freeze bosses again. Alright, now for the big juicer. This better be like, I better see some fucking Diablo 3 numbers, okay? 4,000% monster life, okay? That's what I want. Turbo cuck armor fuck is what I want to see. Just make them indestructible, alright? The best. As the average character's damage has grown over time, we're going to be incrementally updating monster defenses to be more challenging. Yes. This league, we're looking at monster life resistances and armor. Yes, resistances. Wait, resistances is not good though, because that's a really big hit to like degen builds. Fuck. And that's what I like. We have done a pass over the resistances of all monsters in the game. Regular map boss now has 40% elemental resistance, up from 30%. I thought different ones had different values. The 25% chaos resistance up from 15. What? Why are you shitting all over chaos? A very strong boss like the Shaper now has 50% elemental resistance up from 40, and 30% chaos resistance up from 25. Okay, all of this makes sense except this. Everything else? Good. This? Why? It's already so hard for us degen boys. And then this is... Why is this so much more significant than this? I don't like it. Keep in mind that whenever we're talking about these sort of things, it is in perspective to the current game with some assumptions of like upcoming things. But until we actually see numbers, we can only assume values and functionality of all the new shit, right? So it could be totally justified. It's just, yeah, this doesn't really make sense. Unless you're addressing a very specific problem, increasing resistances inadequately addresses or affect different elemental build types, right? So for instance, again, increasing 10% resistances for like a initial hit type of spell is not that impactful because you have many ways of lowering it either way. And the more you lower it, the better it is, right? But then for degen builds, you don't have those options almost at all. Like EE, which loses more and more of its functionality every league, and a curse. For the vast majority of degen builds, that's it. Monster Armors has been largely irrelevant beyond a very low level for a long time, reducing reasonable physical damage hits by almost nothing. Uh-oh. Wait. To mirror the resistance change on monsters, we're updating monster armor growth to be something that noticeably impacts physical damage characters when fighting highly armored monsters. For builds that are most affected by this change, we'll be adding a new stat you can invest in that lets hits bypass an amount of physical damage reduction on enemies. Oh, okay. Well, alright. I feel like they're overcomplicating it, but this sounds good. This stat is enemies have minus X% to total physical damage reduction against your hits. Oh, total physical damage reduction. Oh, this is good then. I like it because it's probably going to be something where it's going to be absolutely abundant amongst attack builds, but then it's going to fuck over spells. And like things like summoners won't have access to. I like it. Okay. I'm with it. I'm getting with it. Ooh, Impale. Here we go. Impale is significantly affected by the higher armor values because of how its damage is dealt in many small hits. We'd have to see numbers on this, but I don't know if I like this too much. Because Impale is already a mechanic that benefits so much from the more you invest into it, the more it snowballs, right? It's just like a super snowballing mechanic. And you can use Impale on things without investment right now, and a lot of the times it's going to make sense. I really like the current spot of Impale, honestly. Especially with Watcher's Eyes not being as available. I don't like this that much. I think these armor pan nodes might be in a good spot and it'll probably make things more interesting. Maybe, yeah, maybe. That's a really fair point because I'll be the first guy to always be like, you got a problem? Put more shit on the skill tree, baby. Hell yeah. So, whenever I do see GGG changing things around skill tree modifications, 99% of the time it's a great change. I am a huge fan of balancing through the skill tree. It's probably going to be really bad at some point, but over the last like 3 years or so, I think they've done a great job with it. So yeah, that's a really fair point that it could be in a really good spot and it could make things genuinely interesting, you know? I'm scared of if it's not in a good spot, then it just ends up being bows. Don't want like another boring situation where you're fucking built into one way of doing things. The life of all unique monsters in the game has been increased by 10%. 10? I wanted 4,000. On top of this, we've revalued the life of all bosses in the campaign, with some of them getting considerable life buffs to bring them in line with the health of other campaign bosses. Fucking nice, dude. Map boss life has been greatly increased at the higher tier of maps, and now scales much more linearly towards higher tiers rather than jumping suddenly at tier 16. Oh, fuck. Notable bosses like the Elder now have significantly more life, as they're now only fought in late map progressions. Special bosses like Gadzurius have had their life adjusted to match the new boss life progression. Non-boss monsters in maps have had their life increased to a lesser degree. Whoo! I like it! Spicy. Nice. Very good. I like this. Am I reading this right? Some modifiers no longer appear in Shaper or Elder items, like the increased physical damage unsocketed gems and support gems are supported by. Okay. I don't get it. Why? I mean, maybe they're just giving us a good replacement. You can have multiple crafted modifiers mod has been changed. Now granting can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. Multi-mod crafting an item was providing too powerful for too low of a cost compared with rolling an item of relative power. To be honest, I'm surprised that they made it 3. I thought they were gonna make it 2. And I thought they were gonna do this last patch. Oh, can have up to 3 crafted modifiers, including the thing. Oh, makes sense. Yeah, then it is 2. They did exactly what I wanted them to do, pretty much. There you go. Apparently, I don't even know what I want. That makes sense. I think multi-modding was, in its current state, pretty much like, in terms of design, at least when it comes to crafting, but I'd have to think about it longer. It was probably the worst thing in Path of Exile. Like, not even close. Multi-modding was fucking trash. Really bad. Really didn't like it. Really limited your options. And yeah, like they said, it provided way too much stuff for way too little investment. The way it existed here would have been fine like 5 years ago. But now Exalted, everybody clears so fast. Exalted orbs just rain, you know, nothing's worth anything. Yeah, it's just bad. And if you're a fan of economy, this is also a very great change. And it's going to make trading a lot more interesting. So yeah, I only see benefits in this. Could you explain why? Don't get it? Yeah, it's basically because it's too little investment for way too good modifiers that 99% of the player base never sees a reason to go past. Right? You get a multi-modded item, that's it. It's not interesting. There's nothing fun about it. You craft a single mod, and that's it. Your item's done. It's like literally Diablo 3 levels of item customization. And that's fucking awful. Like, there is no customization. Everybody's running around with the same fucking items. Everybody's getting their items the exact same way. Everybody can get their items really early on. It reduces the value of chase uniques. It reduces the value of drop items. Made a number of other balance adjustments. Arc, Soulrend, Molten Strike, Shattering Steel, Lancing Steel, Venom Gyre, and more have been buffed. This is a buff. Wasn't Shattering Steel and Lancing Steel like pretty alright now? People started making like pretty decent builds with them. Maybe the build up is too much. Molten Strike makes sense. They kind of want to bring it back. Soulrend is interesting because it got nerfed last league, right? Which was like super surprising nerf. Was that last league or the league before? It was super weird. It just came out of nowhere. And then the arc change is great. Not. I mean, it's great because I love arc, but it's probably not great because arc tends to dominate everything if it's got enough power. Icicle Mine's projectiles are now limited range, meaning they won't travel as far by default, and projectile distance can be modified by projectile speed. I mean, it's a good change. I just wonder how far is, you know, as far. This shit goes far, man. I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but it travels pretty far. But yeah, I mean, as much as some of you guys might hate it because you see a lot of nerfs and whatnot, sorry, I like it. I think the bow changes are pretty cool. I hope they make bows interesting for once. Because bows were always strong, but they were never interesting for like a long time. Since like Onslaught Lightning Arrow. I wish they kind of revamped the early game power of bows. Minions, I don't think this is enough. I think we don't know the values, but not addressing specific specters is a mistake. I think not mentioning skeletons at all is a mistake. I think convoking wands could use even more, like 2 semi-good modifiers to make them more interesting to roll, because realistically, even if the rolls are more spread out, like there's just not that much interesting stuff that you can do for it, but it's still great to have a weapon. Non-damaging ailments. I'm surprised that they addressed it to this degree, but from the looks of it, it's a good change. So I like it, other than the whole like this is supposed to be good for melee. Give us more clusters, give us more shit on the skill tree, make us make more choices. Don't just give us the illusion of choice, because some things are clearly better than the others. But overall, great changes. Monster resistance, armor, and life, good. Other than, yeah, the resistances part. I don't know. Everything else is great. Here, all of this stuff I think is fantastic. Leveling change is great because these things really stood out like hardcore way too much. They're still probably going to be super dominant, but I think it's a solid change, even though it means some nerfs in the speedrunning. And I think the faster speedrunning is in PoE, the cooler it is. So as much as I dislike it from a racing point of view, I think it's better for the game. And then modifier adjustments. Good, other than this. I don't understand this, but maybe we're rewarded in some other way. And then miscellaneous adjustments, yeah, just talked about. Pretty good overall. I like it. Well, no, not pretty good overall. I like all of it. The only thing that I don't know about is Venom Gyre, because I haven't actually played Venom Gyre yet, so maybe you guys can tell me if it's good or not.